Episode 2, Can't Tell Me Nothing podcast. My name's Shy.
My name's Engerson. What's good, Joe?
Cool. This will be essentially the Friday version. This is a free for all. Everything that's happening that we really want to talk about that's like interesting to us. Tuesdays we dabble into the sport world, talk some shit about what goes on there. Friday's a little bit more serious, or it could be a little bit more less serious. You never know. Friday's just
It's depending on what's going on in the world at the time.
Right. And speaking of what's going on in the world, since there's a lot of things going on right now as far as like hate wise.
Let's not sugarcoat it. We basically about to kind of dabble in what's going on.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna name this episode the Black and Black versus Asian experience, Asian American experience.
American experience. The reason we're doing this, well, to be honest, he just hit me and was like, "Hey, we should just do this for an episode of the podcast since we come from different cultures and all that." But
right.
I kind of thought about doing it before he hit me, and my reason for doing it was because everything that's going on. Like, you could talk about the police brutality that's going on with not just black people, but just minorities in general. How we're getting mistreated by police, but
right.
We know right now, recently, what's been going on, especially like in the Bay Area of Northern California, how the elderly Asian people, getting assaulted by I don't know if it's gang members or whatever it may be, but they just been getting assaulted, just like hate crimes for no reason. I don't know if it has to do with COVID or what, but
yeah. Well, I mean, in the news, there's a lot right now of like blaming them for COVID reason. Yeah, but the fact that we want to do this just because. I mean, you've been seeing a lot of people like in the media coming from like either rich people or something, or not really experience it, but like talk about it, and it kind of irks me sometimes because they kind of like talk for everybody, and it's like I don't feel like everybody feel that way, and we just kind of like want to speak our mind. I know my opinion is polar opposite of Angerson's, and I know his is different, but we coexist somehow, some way, and
that's my nigga, don't let me.
Yeah. So regardless of our differences, we somehow can still be friends, and it's kind of hard right now in the world. I feel like
not for us, but I get what he's saying. Just
right, like it's kind of weird. It's like everybody's like on ease, and just because you have different opinions, like you might not like each other.
We had a time in the world where like we used to hear when we was younger, like you don't really want to, especially like, for example, like I don't know if you heard this when you was younger,
right?
But when I was younger, I used to always hear it saying like, you don't want to talk about politics or religion at the Thanksgiving table,
right? Because it can lead to division, which is really exactly what it is doing now.
That's kind of the point we're at in the world today. And me and Tri, we don't really have like different views when it comes to politics. Like certain things we have that are different, but when it comes to like the core things, obviously we have the same views. Like when it comes to racism and all this, the main things, we have the same views. It might be some other things we have different views with, but that's
we're gonna figure that out because we're gonna dissect into that. But yeah, let's start with let's go with you first. Like, how was your upbringing? Like what was your black experience in America?
Like my upbringing. Okay, wait. That's a loaded question. So do you want my upbringing or do you want the black experience first?
I guess the upbringing and then the black experience.
Okay, I guess my upbringing. That's a hard question. I really don't know how to explain it, but
you can start from the top. It's like when the younger age, then your teenage, and how do you feel as far as like being a black man in America, and like what's your what are your struggles and what are your successes and stuff like that?
So I guess my upbringing. So I was born in '96. When I was born, I think my parents, we moved to, I think we were living in Whittier at the time because my sister was born in '93, so they were living in Whittier at the time. So then my dad grew up in Compton and my mom grew up in Louisiana. So let's just put that out there right there. So like I said, my sister was born in '93. We grew up, they were in Whittier at the time. I was born. We ended up growing when I was born, we ended up moving to the Hawthorne area around my grandmother on my mom's side. Mm-hmm. We used to live in like the ghetto side. I guess the ghetto side of Hawthorne is what you would
Which
call
is
it.
It's kind of nice now. It's not that ghetto.
Yeah, it's still kind of ghetto.
Yeah, it's not that
over
bad.
There about like
right.
If you live in the South Bay area and you know about Hawthorne, like the Doty area, Chevron, Cerise, Lamoli, I was over on that side of Hawthorne. And then a little after that, we ended up moving. My parents ended up getting a house in Linwood, right by Linwood, the old Linwood Middle School. So that's kind of like in the ghetto. So, like really, I hate using that word ghetto, but you know it's in the hood.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So did you ever felt like you always hear there's the system, or like right now is like really big with like the systematic racism? Did you ever felt, because of your environment, where you grew up from, where you go to school, the friends that you hang out with, did you ever felt like it hindered your chances of being successful in life? Or because you're a black man, you started behind the 8 ball in a way?
Systemic racism. Me personally, if you like, you know me, like,
yeah,
I grown up, people always used to make the joke like, I guess I'm whitewashed when it comes to being a black male. I'm whitewashed or whatever. I'm not really like, I'm not really like when it comes to slang and all that. I'm not that dude. Like I like to talk proper and all that. And that has nothing with, like, I'm proud of being black, so we won't go there. But it's just, I just like talking proper. It has nothing to do with the slang. It's not that I don't like it or nothing, but so I never really felt like I had some, to be honest, if we're being 100, I never felt like I had, like, I mean, yeah, I'm black, so obviously I had disadvantages because people are just going to look at me like I'm a black male, but I've always felt like I've been accepted, not just by the black community, but by, like, other communities in a sense, because I guess I don't fit their quote, and I'm not saying my friends or nothing like that, but just, like, in general, like.
What, are you saying you felt different, or you just will prefer to carry yourself in a way where it doesn't?
No, what I'm saying, no, not like that. I'm proud to be black. We're not going to say that. But I just feel like when it comes to like being around white people, being around not just white people, but people of other races, I feel like they accepted me more because I'm usually just, and I'm not saying this is nothing against black dudes because we all are chill, but people always tell me like, and I hate when people say this, but I guess even if they don't mean no ill will from it, I get what they're saying. They say I'm laid back. I'm not like other black dudes. And I mean, in my head, I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? But when they say this, all they hear is the stereotype about black men, about us being aggressive, even though none of that is true. But that's a stereotype that most people hear, that black men are aggressive or we're thugs or whatever it may be. So then when they come across me, I guess you can consider me a square or whatever, and I'm like a chill, laid back dude.
Fuck is
a square, like a loser, dude that's not like.
Oh, I didn't get that sense, but okay,
like
go ahead.
Or nothing like that.
Go ahead.
So when people come across me, they be like, "Oh yeah, you a chill black dude. You're not like a lot of other black dudes I met." Mm-hmm. And when I hear that, I'm like, what do you mean by that? And sometimes I get offended, but then I got to think about like these people aren't from. A lot of these people that say this aren't from the same culture as me.
Right.
So they're growing up, even if they're not personally racist themselves, they might know somebody that's racist. So they grow up in an age where they're taught that most black men are aggressive or violent or whatever it may be. So then when they meet a black dude that's like me, a black man that's like me, a black king that's like me, it's like a culture shock to them because all they were taught when they were growing up is that black people are aggressive. So then they meet me, I'm calm, I'm laid back, I don't do a lot, and they're confused. And I don't know why they're confused because no black man is aggressive. An aggressive person is an aggressive person no matter if you're black, white, whatever it may be. But it's just a stereotype, so that's what.
And do you feel like the stereotypes on black people has been like the reason why other cultures treat you unfairly? But also, you didn't really answer my question. Is like, growing up, did you ever felt like the system was against you, and like because you're a black, you didn't get the chance to succeed the same way as other culture?
Well, I hate like making myself sound like a victim because everything is on you as a person. Like your failures are on you. But yes, in a sense, yes. I feel like the system, because I was black, made it harder to succeed. There was stuff I had to do being a black man that I wouldn't say like my Asian counterparts and maybe even my Hispanic counterparts, but like my white counterparts, they wouldn't have to do the same things that I would have to do coming up as a black man in order to try to succeed in this country.
Okay. You want to get your burp out the way?
That's good.
Okay, cool. All right, go ahead.
I had the little hiccups real quick. But
all right, go ahead.
I feel like in this we could like, we don't have to broaden it up right now, but we can broaden it up and just say like it's harder just being a minority in this country. But yes, as a black man, yes, it's harder. Like maybe not so much when it comes to education because I was always smart. I was just lazy in high school, and that was my downfall in high school. Why I didn't get a lot of college acceptance letters that I should have got. But when it comes to like, if I'd applied myself in high school, I could have gotten any college I want. But when it comes to working, like yes, like I have the luxury of my name being Engerson. So when I fill out a job application and they see the name Engerson, they're not expecting a black dude.
Right.
So, but when I get there and they see that I'm black, then yes, I have to switch up my code. I can't talk improper. I can't use slang. I have to talk like I guess white in a sense or whatever.
But do you feel like?
And it makes it harder. Yes, you have to be like that at work because you can't be walking around talking with slang because then they're gonna call you ghetto or say that you a gang member or whatever.
Right.
It may be.
But do you feel like as a person who wants to navigate through life and be successful in a way, you kind of do have to differentiate your professional talk than your, regular talk? Like you can't obviously talk the way you talk to your friends in a professional settings, like, do you feel that way? Like everybody needs to develop those kind of skill sets?
I feel like everybody should develop those skill sets. But to be honest, I don't think so because I've worked whether it's retail, sales, security.
Right.
I've worked in different jobs where I've been around a lot of Hispanics or around a lot of white people or Asians, whatever it may be. And they use like their Asian slang, their Hispanic slang,
it's
their white
essentially slang, just in the different tone or a different like a different
accent, a different tone, a different dialect, whatever it may be. But when it comes to black people, we have to code switch and talk like we're white or talk proper and pronounce all our E's and our R's and all of that just in order to fit in. Because if not, then we're ghetto. We're deemed as ghetto. Or we're deemed as unfit.
And where did you felt most like, in a way, like did you felt like that in school? Like was your teacher giving you some kind of look, or was you, just like in life in general?
Never in school because
we kind of grew up. Yeah. So they got the teachers get it, like,
It's in an area where Londo is a lot of Asians first off, but it's in an area where it's a lot of minorities, Asians, blacks, Hispanics. It's not as many whites going to Londo High School as it is going to other schools. So everybody understood it. That's just like we all talk how we feel comfortable. Yeah. But if it probably would have been different if I went to like Redondo Beach or a Torrance school or El Segundo or something like that to play football, which is how I planned on doing. So I'll probably be giving you a different answer right now. But when it comes to work, yes, I feel like most times when I'm at work, I have to code switch. Whether I'm doing Uber Eats, whether I'm working security, working in sales, working retail as a cashier, I feel like I have to do more code switching in because if I talk improper or talk quote unquote ghetto or whatever, people are gonna think that I'm a threat or think that I'm.
Well, besides the talking and besides the.
It even falls down to the tone and the attitude, the way you carry yourself. You can't walk around looking angry as a black man because people are gonna think you're angry. True,
but I think with anybody, if you walk around angry, people are gonna be like, "Why are you walking around angry?" But you get what I'm saying?
Like, I'll use you as an example, and like you can walk around. I mean, you're still Asian, so people might look at you like you got COVID.
I look like a little fucking prick.
Yeah, or like you got COVID or whatever it may be. But
which is fine.
You can walk around and be in a bad mood, and they'll just be like, okay, he just in a bad mood. But as a black dude, if I walk through a liquor store and I look like I'm in a bad mood, they just gonna assume that I'm there to steal some shit probably or to rob the store.
Yeah.
Maybe not me because I'm 5'6", so
yeah.
But if you look at any other black man that's like 5'10" and up, and they could just be in a bad mood, like maybe they got into it with their girlfriend or something.
Right.
So they just go into the liquor store to get something to drink and go back home. But
okay,
because they walked in the door with that attitude on their face.
So my question is, besides the stereotype, which is what you're pointing out right now, which is, you know, spot on. Besides the stereotype, like, do you think that's like the main factor as to why like you guys are being African American are being treated different? Is it because like the stereotype plays into how people view your culture and your people? Or is there other factors that also play into the part as to why the black experience in America hasn't been, you know, so smooth?
Yeah, there's other factors. I don't want to get into them because, I mean, it wouldn't matter if I got.
I mean, you kind of have to. We talking about it. So to the Knicks and Green, whatever you feel comfortable with, you know, essentially.
It's other factors, like in the sense, and okay, so I'm not gonna say black on black crime because that's a product. Black on black crime, Asian on Asian crime.
That happens
Mexican
everywhere. To be is white on white. This just
one. It happens everywhere. Two,
right.
A lot of that is a product of systemic racism and where you live. If you're broke, obviously you're gonna rob the people around you, and if you're broke and you live around nothing but black people and you're black, you're not gonna go to fucking Palos Verdes to rob the rich white people when you can rob black people.
There's a lot more cops in Palos Verdes. Let me tell you that. Let me tell you that.
It's a lot more police.
Drive up there just to catch a sunset. You're like, damn, there's a lot of cops just walking around. It's a lot just more driving around.
It's a lot more police patrolling homes in Palos Verdes than it is in fucking Inglewood.
Wait. There's also a lot of people who say there's too many police in the ghetto. You know, it
is because it's all comes back to systemic racism. It's more police in the ghetto or the hoods or whatever. I don't know the words that you're supposed to use to not be insensitive. So we can use ghetto or hood or whatever. Even though I hate using those words, but you get.
I think that's fine.
Ain't nobody gonna be offended by it, but you get the point.
I guess you can say. If you want to be clean, you can say low income communities.
Yeah, if we want to be more PC, low income areas, but you get at the ghetto or the hoods. But yeah, it's more police officers because there's more crime and they know that they're gonna have not more action, but you're gonna make more money. The only reason you make money in the rich areas as a police officer is because the rich people are donating to the police to like make sure that no crime happens. But in the hood, you're making more money because you're constantly arresting people and all this stuff for the crime that happens because you put all the poor people in one place.
Do you think in low income communities or ghetto or whatever, do you think that they need more police or less police?
I think it depends on the situation, like
or what they like to say right now is like more, I guess, social workers or whatever that is, like specifically for, you know, call for specifically things. That's like cops should show up for everything.
I think it comes more down to not just getting more social workers or police in the area, but actually putting in the work, or not the work, putting in the efforts from the community leaders and stuff to like make the after school programs, make the mental health programs. So when these kids are in these situations where their parents are getting divorced or they feel like they don't have a family at home, instead of them reaching out to a gang or whatever it may be, they're reaching out to these community outreach programs to get their help.
I think
staying in school.
I think police.
It's nothing against gangs or black people or Mexicans or nothing like that.
I think
because that's all part of systemic racism. Gangs.
I personally think police needs to be trained a lot better in a lot more scenarios. Because they're not being trained like very, very on a very consistent level.
That's 100%, but that's hard because we have so many. You know how long it would take to do all that training to actually vet the system to get all the people in the police force and in law enforcement that are actually racist,
right?
And get them out of there and actually that would take forever.
Yes, but
we might as well just abolish the whole system, which is extreme.
I don't agree with that.
but that's the point. It's extreme. But if we really want the change that we want when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to the police and how they treat minorities, not just black people, how they treat Asians, not even Asians, because I mean Asians might not get treated as bad as Hispanics.
They get treated bad.
Asians get treated bad, but not as bad as Hispanics. Not as bad as black people probably get treated the worst, and that's not me being biased because I'm black. We know.
I don't really like to compare, just because we'll get to my view, but
you get the point I'm trying to make though. Like Hispanics get treated bad. Yeah. Blacks get treated bad. Asians even get treated bad, especially in the low income areas where it's more Asian gangs. You guys get treated bad. I think, and that's not gonna change if we still have people that are racist that are in law enforcement, whether they're a fucking first year cop or a fucking sheriff or the fucking chief or a fucking mayor. Yeah. It's not gonna matter until we get all the and the only way that's gonna happen is we gotta have a big it sounds extreme, but it's the only way. And it's not like it's something that has to happen overnight where we just shut down every police force, but it has to be a slow change.
Right. And they can, but I don't see. I don't agree with cutting down their funds and like pissing them off either. I think you need to go in and start.
Who's really pissed in the police force?
I mean, imagine.
Is it the non-racist police officers?
Wait. Yeah, for everybody. Imagine you were.
No, I get what you're saying. You're right, but I'm just playing devil's advocate at this point. But think about it. Who's really pissed in the police force when it comes to cutting the police funds for all these other things?
So I guess everybody. If you're a policeman and that's how you feed your family and like essentially you're getting affected and you're getting cut, you're gonna be mad.
But if you see
that's just human.
But if you see what's the real cause,
don't play with my pockets.
No, that's 100%. Don't play with my pockets. I don't give a fuck because if I'm not doing no shit bad,
right?
Don't affect my paycheck because my fucking coworker or colleague wants to be a fucking racist prick.
Right.
Don't affect my paycheck. So I get you. No, I get you. That's fact.
That subject is so touchy just because
because of what we just spoke on.
Right. Because it's like essentially a few bad apples or a lot of bad apples really fucked up a lot of good.
It could be a lot. It could be millions. It could be one. But that one bad apple
really fucks it up for everybody else.
The good apples. That's how it's been since we've been in preschool. Yeah, it's always like that. It don't matter if you play sports, if you fucking in band, in fucking debate club. It's always like that. The bad apple or apples is always gonna fuck you up.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing. Is like,
and you have to take that L.
Wait. Oh, okay.
If you're really a good apple, like you say, and I'm not trying to make it an ultimatum, but you get what I'm saying.
I know. I get what you're saying. But here's what I'm saying too. So imagine you're the good apple, right? Right, and you trying to do everything you can as a good apple. And do what's right? And these bad apples really fucked it up. And then now, because of these bad apples, you're getting pay cuts. Your hours are getting cut. Maybe less benefits. They're moving you all around. Eventually, these bad apples will get frustrated by the situation. And how much longer, as a human, could you be that good apple? If now you're getting paid. Your pay is getting cut and all that other thing. Which is the reason why. Wait, hold on. I'll let you. So that's just my thing. It's just like I try my hardest. I don't do this very well, but I really try to put myself in other people's shoes. And so for the good apple, fuck man, like you telling me I'm getting a pay cut to keep up this good work? Now I'm frustrated at work, Now I'm like, what the fuck? Like, maybe we need more training. Maybe you need to train them fuckers to get their shit right.
But here's the thing. I look at it this way. Let me use myself for an example. When I used to work at Fry's, it was a couple people I used to work with that would be doing dumb shit, right?
Right.
So they would be doing dumb shit, and I'm talking about like, I was a merchandiser, so not only am I working in a specific department, I'm a cashier. So I go and ring up. So if this cashier's doing dumb shit, and the dumb shit they doing is affecting everybody who works as a cashier, even if you're not a full-time cashier and you're a merchandiser, but you cashier, it affects your pay, right?
Right.
So if someone's doing some dumb shit like giving out discounts and shit that they shouldn't be doing, and they talking about docking everybody pay, and I see you doing that, I'm gonna snitch because if I'm a good apple and I'm doing everything by the books,
right?
Why am I gonna take the L because you want to do that extra shit? If I see you doing it and I already know that they cutting down on it and cracking down, they're about to get people in trouble, I'm gonna snitch, because the worst that's gonna happen is they're gonna see it's short and they might question you because they might have a lead on you and you lie and say it's me. Yeah. And then I get in trouble.
No, I'm not gonna take that risk. The good apple definitely has to somehow prevail at the end of the day, because we definitely need more good apples, especially policemen. We can't have a shit ton of fuckheads that are, always fucking up on the work. But also, man, when it comes to policemen, like, it's fucking hard. It's a hard job. You work crazy hours.
And as much as as much as a black man, as I say, fuck 12 and all that, I understand.
It's a hard job.
Being a police officer, it's a hard job because your life is on the line every time you clock in, literally.
Imagine the crazy shit they've seen. The murder scenes, the blood on the wall at a hotel room, the fucking 2 a.m. call because some guy beat up his wife consistently every week. So, like, that's why, like,
you never know what the fuck.
You never know. So you're always on. You're always like not
as much
on.
As it's fuck 12, I respect policemen because
I respect
never
them
know.
as well.
You literally, when you come on duty and hop in that police cruiser,
it could be your last day.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like if you was in the army, and I respect them, but there still needs to be better training because we can't just be
right.
We can't, and I hate bringing up the word black because it happens to us black people all the time with police. But you can't just, as a police officer, you can't just be killing. I don't give a fuck if you black, white, Mexican, Asian, or Arabic.
You can't be kneeing people in the head, kneeing people in the neck. You can't be doing that shit.
You can't just be abusing these little ass teenagers because you feel like you got power or whatever it is. And they're not listening. You can't like you.
And then you definitely
13-year-old.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, come on, you can't be doing that stuff. It has to be better training. But I do understand that police officers have a lot to deal with. So that's one thing people do have to take into account. But it doesn't excuse some of the bullshit. Yeah, police officers.
Okay, so let's go back on the black experience. So, like, what else would you attack, or do you want me to go with?
What do you mean?
Like, what else do you feel like has been a factor as to the black experience, and how is it hard to be in America?
How it's hard to be black in America?
Yeah, like besides the stereotypes and the cops and.
Well, I think the stereotypes really generalize everything, because everything really falls off of the stereotypes. Like, if people see you as a black dude, they just assume either you're violent, aggressive, that you're a gang member, or something along the sorts of that. So it's hard to break those stereotypes sometimes. Even for someone like me, like people who know me know I'm not no fucking gang member. I'm not violent. I'm not aggressive or nothing like that. But even with someone like me, it's hard sometimes. Like, you have to prove that you're not that stereotype sometimes in order for people who aren't of the same color of you to accept you. But for me personally, it hasn't been, I won't say it's as hard as maybe other people of my color experience, but I just know, like, I have black, that sounds so corny. I have black friends, obviously I'm black, but you get what I'm saying?
That sounds like something a white person say. I have black friends.
You get what I'm saying? Like, we talk, me and my friends that are also black, we talk about this shit all the time. Like, I know black people that experience harder stuff than I have. So I'm grateful that I don't have to experience some of the things that they have been through. But I've been through a lot. It's been times where I've been fucking, me and you have went to fucking 24. This was like back in the day, like when I was like 2015, 2016. You hit me up to go to 24. We go to the gym. I pull up and we go in our own cars, and I'm going home at 2 a.m. Driving down Sepulveda from the 24 in Hermosa, going home before I even could hit Manhattan Beach to start going back inland, get pulled over, and they asking where you going. I'm talking about I'm coming home from the gym. I smell musty. What are you talking about where I'm going? Like, it's just that. Like, and it's midnight. It's dark as fuck. Like, it's 2 a.m. How can you? Me and you used to work out at 1, 2 a.m. So how it's dark as fuck. How can you tell I'm black in a car? Yeah. Like, if you pull me over, you obviously don't see it.
Them cops in Hermosa. They just a little different.
That's a different story. But you get what I'm saying? Like, even shit like that. Like, I come home from the gym, the cop talking about I'm swerving. Like, I haven't smoked. I haven't drank. I was at the gym working out. Why would I be smoking or drinking?
Yeah. Well, I that's a good point.
So So yeah, it's hard sometimes. It's stressful. I won't say it's hard, but it's just frustrating.
I'll tie to that, but let me say, my experience. So for me, it was a little fucking different. See, I wasn't born here. So the type of shit that was happening here, like, I wasn't living it until 2005, which is when I came. I lived 9 years or something in Vietnam, right? So it's a communist country. We were poor as fuck. I was one out of like 12 other people that live in the same house. I didn't even have a fucking room. I slept on
I didn't even know that.
I slept on the fucking balcony. Like, if you had a house, we had a house with like 4 stairs or whatever, and me and my mom had no room. Our door was a curtain. Everything there you pay for. School wasn't free. I was a dumb kid. Like, it was, so life was hard. So like, my point of view in life right now, and especially as an Asian man in America, is way completely different from other people, and completely different from like Americans who are living here. Just because, bro, I'm just blessed to be here. So like, my way of looking is just so different. Like, I don't have that much complaint, just because like anything, literally, we can like have. Okay. All right, and we're back. Okay, so as I was saying, so like, going back to the racist thing, like, yeah, so it was just taught at a very young age, and it was just kind of like very thrown out there, and everybody wanted to use the race card, and then this whole stereotype thing. Okay, my opinion on it is very fucking different. Is like, I think people here are too soft. You know how many times I got called small dicks and all this Asian shit? The amount of time that I endure that, and if I actually gave a shit, like, my life would be so much worse. I gave it zero shit of all the stereotypes. I kind of like, I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, all right, I got a little small dick, whatever.
Let me stop.
It's cool. Like, I can live with it.
I agree with you there, but that's more like a fucking. That stereotype is, I mean, yeah, that's a big stereotype that Asians have small dicks or whatever it may be. But that's more like a joke. Like, you got to look at it more. You got to think more about the stereotypes. Like, I'll use an Asian one. I don't feel like using a black one, so I'll use an Asian one. So, like, think about how they say all Asians are good at math.
Not true, but okay, I'll take that.
But how many
that's
times,
cool.
But that's not the point, though. But how many times have you been somewhere and I'm not talking about someone that you're a friend of. I'm talking about someone maybe that you just met, or maybe someone that you barely know, and they'd ask you, like, are you smart or are you good at math? I mean, I'm not saying you're stupid.
My answer would be like, usually people think I'm smart, but I'm dumb as fuck. Just letting you know.
Okay, but you get the point I'm making. Like, they expect you, because you're Asian, they expect you to just be smart at math.
Right. And I just tell them no. I mean, it's not that fucking hard.
I'm pretty athletic. I could jump pretty high, but people just expect, because I'm black, like,
I don't know. Okay, so going back to the Asian American. Okay, for my view, is like, for example, we can sum it up. If you read Jeremy Lin statement about this whole thing, it's like, Asian Americans are tough, like, we endure racism and all that.
No, you guys do.
Yeah, we do. A lot of people believe that. Me, I'm like, yeah, stop being a bitch. Okay, stop.
I can't let you do that.
Stop being a bitch. No,
I can't let you do that.
I'm gonna do that. It's just my opinion.
Because it's not fair. Because Asian people endure a lot of racism.
That's true. That's true. I was just brought up different. I just never.
I get what you're saying, but that's not fair. Stereotypes of racism to be brought up on Asians. Even if we just go in as small as people saying Asians are smart. Not everybody in the world is smart. Not everybody in the world is confident enough to be smart. So if you just go up to every Asian you fucking see, and they're just assuming that they're smart, and they're not, and let's just say that they're not smart, and it's like, not to be like a dick, they're just really not smart, and like, they struggle with, because they may have a mental disorder,
right,
or something, or a brain disorder or something that makes them struggle with, like, cognitive.
I don't know.
Stuff.
I just never felt like
it's not fair.
I just never. I get it. And I'm an asshole for saying this, but I just never like live my life worrying about what people say about me. Because if you live that way, you're always gonna be searching for, like.
Not everybody could live like that, though.
That's true. That's why I'm just saying my opinion. I'm just saying my opinion, which is not right, according to popular opinion.
So I'm not saying your opinion is wrong or nothing like that. You're obviously entitled to your opinion. That's what an opinion is.
Right.
But not everybody Like, you can say that and you're comfortable with yourself. Not everybody is comfortable. And it's okay to not be comfortable with yourself. It's not okay to just assume just because somebody.
Which is why you're good for this role, because you're the nice guys, and usually I'm the dick that always says things that doesn't really work out like, in popular opinion.
It's not okay just to assume that just because somebody is a certain race, they can do whatever stereotype you think it is. Like, if I'm black, you can't just assume that I could dunk a basketball. I mean, I could damn near touch rim, but
you can't dunk the basketball.
I can't dunk a basketball, so you can't just assume just because I'm black I could dunk. You can't just assume just because he's Asian he knows what the fuck is a derivative of 9 or whatever the fuck that means.
Okay, so
I don't know what that means.
So
and he probably doesn't know what that means.
Okay, so going back to the Asian experience in America. So yeah, so growing up, we grew up in the same place, right? So not rich, not middle class, very low income. I just never felt like it was hard. Like, it's just because I came from a place that I just view like so much fucking harder.
You came from poverty, no offense, not like that. But
I came from communist poverty. That's the worst.
You came from poverty and you moved into low income, maybe somewhat middle class, depending on where you lived in the South Bay. But you came from low income to an area where everybody else.
Pause. I'll correct you. I came from a third world country. Into a low
third world country into low income in a first world country.
So my view on the whole. Just because
obviously you're gonna look at things different because you're just grateful you're not living in a fucking cardboard box.
I was like, man, like, this is fucking great. Free school, free food. You got to look at it. All right, I'll take it. Although the burger was trash, the chicken sandwich was trash, and I fucking hated it.
But it would have been different if your parents would have been fortunate enough when you guys came from Vietnam to move to like a good area like Redondo Beach, like a Beverly Hills.
But
like
here,
a
see, that's the thing though.
No, hold on. Let me explain it, because it would have been different. You would have been around more wealthier people, higher class, richer people. So you would experience a different world where they probably would accept it. I don't want to say like that. They would accept you because you're Asian, and in a stereotype way they would expect.
You said they would, or you said they wouldn't?
Would have. They would.
I felt like I was accepted though, even in a low income community.
You were still accepted, but that's the point I'm getting to. You would have been in certain areas. Like, if you were fortunate enough to move to a higher income area, you would have been accepted just because you're Asian.
Let's not talk about the make believe though, because I move into a low income, right?
But the reason you're accepted in a low income area is because you moved into an area that's low income, where everybody is basically, whether they want to admit it or not, you can flex or whatever you want. Everybody's damn near basically going through the same struggle.
Just poor.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I mean, like, whether they want to be haters or be weird or not, whether they want to like hate or be weird or not, they still understand the struggle, because they going through it too. Like, I was in middle school, and there was certain times in middle school where I only had like 4 shirts for the week, and I might have to like wash a shirt and fucking rewear the same shirt. Like,
Skechers. I got a lot of Skechers. Man, my dad.
Sometimes you might have to rewear the same jeans.
I didn't get Nike until I was like sophomore in high school. That's late.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck how high.
It's wearing Ross.
I don't give a fuck how high and mighty people that we grew up with and went to school with try to sound. I know all of us had times where we fucking had to wear the same clothes every week. I know. I mean, it was times where I wore every single week. You see me wearing the same couple outfits.
Right. With the same raggedy ass backpack we all had.
Yeah, that's all I had until I got to high school, where all that stuff really mattered and my parents understood, or until I got to the point where I got my own money to buy my own clothes. Like, we all grew up in the same era, so we understood. Like, even the people that were dicks, they still went through it, so they still somewhat understood whether they wanted to or not.
All right, let me tell you. So yeah, we grew up in the same area, but I just never felt like this thing of people always saying like, oh, when you grew up in a low income communities, like, oh my God, that sounded weird. Income communities, like, you're less fortunate, you have a harder chance of making it, and blah blah, like all this, the system's against you. I never felt that way. I just felt like that's like an excuse for a person. That's wait, hold on, let me finish.
No, go ahead, my fault.
I felt like it's such a cop out. It's like, yo, like, you're fucking lazy, just admit it, because regardless of you're from the hood, regardless if you ain't got no fucking laptop in your school, regardless of blah, 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 blah. If you really want to make it far in life and really, like, have a good education and have good grades and
you're gonna
all
put
that,
your mind to it.
you're gonna put your mind and you're gonna fucking do it.
But here's the thing, you're right, but I think it's 50-50. You're right, and the other side is right. It is a challenge, and it is a detriment to minority specific, because you could be white and be in a low income neighborhood.
That's a lot. Wait, hold up. There's a lot of broke white people. Let's just not think that all white people are.
But you could be white and be in a low income neighborhood and still have some advantages that the Asians, that the blacks, that the Hispanics won't get because of what they are. So you're right. At the same time, like, if you put your mind to it, it don't fucking matter what the fuck the system is gonna do. You gonna fucking But
and I feel like actually,
but not everybody's like that.
Yeah, and I actually
no. Let me change that. Let me rephrase that. It's not that not everybody's like that. There's balance in the world for a reason. Not everybody can be fucking successful.
Right. So I don't know.
Look at it that way.
My opinion's always been tough. I've always been tough on myself, so I've always like tough as far as my opinion on others, which is, just my opinion, is not right. I'm not saying I'm right. But yeah, I always just think it was a cop out. Like, I actually think is an advantage, because like once I went to like Cal State Channel Island, which is not like, I'm not going to UCLA or anything. I'm not bragging here, but it's in a more white community. It's in Camarillo. It's in Ventura.
Right. White people and farms out there.
But I never, even when I got there, I was like, oh, just because I came from low income communities, like I never felt less than them, because I put in the work in high school. Like I was a nerd for 2 years. I had an average of 3.8 GPA at a environmental charter school. Like, I put in the work, so I never felt less than.
And that's the stereotypes that people put on Asians. You just said you had a 3.8. That's what we expect from Asians, no racial. But and that's not a good stereotype, because not all Asians are smart. But that's the thing, like you wouldn't, just because you have that confidence, not everybody.
Right.
Not everybody's gonna have that confidence. Confidence is something that like, it wavers. Like, you could be confident but not be too confident, or you could have no confidence at all, or you could just be the most confident motherfucker in the room.
Yeah. Well, see, my thing is just like, what I'm trying to get at is like, are we like, how longer are we gonna use like all this thing as like excuse? I guess, like,
I get listen, let me put it this way. I get what you're saying. It just comes bad when people minority say it, because with black people, they tell us that we're a coon. I don't know what's the word for, like, or Uncle Tom or a coon.
Fob.
That's what they tell us black people. When you say stuff like that, they call us a coon or Uncle Tom. I don't know what they say for Asians, but when you act like I fucking know. Like, basically being whitewashed, that's basically That's considered thinking like a white person.
I'm low key real whitewash. Let's just be honest.
And it might not be using logic. I don't want to say that people are ignorant, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's like, if you just use common sense in a sense and just use your logic, and if you're just confident and don't worry about what the fuck the system is doing, you can obviously be successful.
Which I think we need more of that. We need people to say, hey, fuck that. Regardless of it's against you, don't think about it. Let's block that out, because the more you can block all the negativity in your brain, the more you can focus on the good thing, and the more you can take advantage of your current situation.
The only way though that would happen, no, I won't say the only way that'll happen, because it can always change, but one way that can happen is we need more advocates in lower income communities. We need more resources for these people in lower income communities to get the help that they need to get to these points. Because like we said, not everybody's confident, so sometimes you need that extra help, that extra push. We need that stuff in these lower income communities, so these kids and people can get this growing up, so they can think like this.
I do think there's a little I do think there's a flaw in our education system, as far as like
100%.
not really preparing for the
life.
Kids for the world. When I say the world, I mean like they're not
for life.
For life, yes. They're not telling them like, hey, you gotta take care of your financial state. You gotta take your credit stuff.
For life.
You gotta learn how to talk to people in professional settings.
They teach you what the fuck 2 + 2 is, instead of how to fucking budget your checkbook or manage your finances.
They don't even do that though.
They don't teach you in school.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if you're in high school or college or elementary. I don't think there's any class, well, maybe in college, because you're paying for it. But when you're in high school, there's no class that teaches you how to fucking manage your bank account, manage your money, manage your paycheck, so you're not living check to check. So when you starting off making $600 every 2 weeks,
and you like blowing it just because you think
you know how to manage it, so you're not just blowing your money on bills and other shit.
I do want to say though there
has to be classes.
I do want to say there's this thing. It's like an Avid class, which I was in.
Too, you were in. It don't teach you how to manage finances.
It taught you how to put a planner together. Okay.
It just taught you how to organize a planner and how to be ready for college. It didn't teach you how to manage your finances. It didn't,
which is very easy.
Life.
Right. So they don't. Yes, they don't
teach you the basics of life, but it didn't teach you the meat and potatoes. Yes, if that makes sense.
So I guess where I'm getting to this is the Black and Asian experience in America, right? So although we come from low income communities, I felt like I was able to learn the necessary things that like didn't make me feel like I was less than once I got to college and like see other kids that came from like middle class or like rich parents or whatever. Like I didn't feel less than just because like I put in the work and I never view myself as less than, which is very important. It's because
no matter where you come from, you shouldn't view yourself as less.
Right, but there's a culture shock, especially when you go to college for a low income community kids. When you go to college and you start seeing fucking kids that
you see all them white boys,
right at 18 driving fucking BMWs.
Well, my parents are giving me $1,000 right now. We can still go to this concert.
I remember when I I didn't even go to like a rich school, right? But like I remember seeing them driving in like with a fucking BM, and I'm like still riding with Henry in an old Honda.
You went to a university. I went to Santa Monica Community College, and I would see dudes coming in with R8s and I8s and all this shit. But even at Elko, like, it's a culture shock when you get to college and you see people who are, no matter, even if they're the same age as you, they're adults and they come from different backgrounds, whether they making money themselves or not. A lot of people come from different backgrounds where their parents make money and they can basically almost get whatever they want.
True, but here's the thing. That's what you see. That's why they say don't judge a book by its cover, right? They're like, that's what you see, right? But when you start talking to them and you start analyzing what they say and how they go about their day and how they study and their knowledge, you're like, wait a minute, you should know more than me. But you don't.
Because you had the
You're a
dumbass. Exactly.
Even with all the advantage you had, you are a dumbass.
People don't take,
and you're lazy. But you made it here.
People don't take advantage because they had privilege from growing up where they did, but they don't take advantage of the advantages that they got.
But wait. Here's my take. I feel like sometimes it's an advantage when you come from a poor place basically, and you really have because you have like a chip on your shoulder.
You got a chip on your shoulder. Right. Everybody's expecting you to fail. Yeah, it's an advantage.
Right. I personally think that's an advantage.
It is, but only for some people. It's not for everybody.
True.
Some people will see that and be like, I'm the underdog. I'm supposed to, they're expecting me to fail. So
so they
in
like,
their head, they're thinking.
They put their head in a handcuff and they just kind of like.
I'm going to fail.
Right.
Yeah. It's a mindset. I've dealt with it lots of times coming where I'm from, like thinking that because I'm just going to fail because people expect me to fail. But that's just not how it works. You just have to keep your head down. And it's easier said than done. And it's not for everybody, but that's what you have to do.
That's true.
You have to try to keep your head down, keep pushing, because anybody could be successful if you really put your mind to it, and not just successful, whatever you want to do. You can do it if you actually put your mind to it.
So let's try to. We still got a couple more minutes, but let's try to like kind of like recap this as far as like. So, how would you say that your Black experience in America has been? You blessed? You would say like
I would say I'm blessed because being Black in America, I could for sure be in a way worse situation than what I'm in. So I would for sure say I'm blessed, and I don't take it for granted because it can all change in a minute. But as being a Black man in America, you just gotta be thankful for the blessings that you do have and
the opportunities
that you do get, and just keep it pushing. And when you do get opportunities, you can't take them for granted.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because we know how this country is going to treat us as a black man in America. You know how it's going to treat us. So you just have to, when you get opportunities, it don't matter what it is. You have to, I don't give a fuck if it's working at Food for Less.
Right.
It's the chance to be the manager of Food for Less. When you get that opportunity, you got to go ham.
Yeah.
That's just how it is as a black man in America.
Yeah. And I agree to that. I feel like everybody has a chance here if they really put their mindset to it. Like,
it's also a product of your environment, but we could say that for another time.
Yeah, but also friends too. You know, like so, you need friends who are willing to push you, and not friends who are gonna put you in a fucking bad place in your life.
You need friends that are gonna push you to be successful. You don't need friends that are gonna fucking tell you let's just fucking the whole time.
But also another thing is like you have to be willing because there's just so many cultures and so many different type of people here, and it's just so big as a country that when I got here, I just know like the more you're willing to like step out of your comfort zone, the more success you can find and the more connection. Exactly. I feel like a lot of people are a lot of people are so comfortable if they grew up in a low income communities, they never actually reached out and see the world for what it is and really like put themselves in like a better environment and really like test themselves.
To sum it up, you can't be complacent. You have to be open to not doing new things. Well, I guess doing new things.
Yeah, do new things. Try new experiences.
You got to be open to taking chances when it comes to your success.
Right.
You can't just be complacent and that's what happens to not just where we grow up, but in a lot of low income communities. Mm-hmm. People get a little success and become complacent, but you have to be willing to want to
and you do
your success off further than what it already is.
And you do have to like take the good things from each places. Like, oh, really? Oh, white people's all this, that. Let me see what they're doing right, and then let me see how I can incorporate that into my way, but make it my own. Exactly. Or how a black man's successful. Let me see how he's doing. Like, let's look at successful people or look at other cultures or whatever, and try to take all the knowledge that you can, but don't really just be biased and just like not willing to learn. I think that's like a mistake a lot of people do. Right, which is the reason why a lot of my friends would be like, after college, I know you sometimes say it's like, you fucking whitewash. And I'm like, man, I've been with a lot of white people. I got to learn something from them, you know? Like,
no, I get that. You like when you grew up around, I mean, not even that. Well, that's a different story. But yeah, when you grow up around people, you're going to act a certain way. But you was in college for 4 or 5 years with basically nothing but white people. So yes, that's gonna rub off on you. I just be fucking with you, but I
still had a lot of it was a lot of Hispanic friends and all that. But yeah, like I like
what I'm saying. Like you in Ventura County, you would mainly white people, and even Hispanics out there are looking white. So like you're gonna be, and it's not like that. Like, but that's just how the culture is out there. It's more white than it is minority.
Yeah.
So obviously,
which I felt like it was a good thing for me to like move out and actually
to always learn experience. That's never not bad. That's always good.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's our time here. We're gonna cap off. I'm saying by basically, I mean, our experience is that it is what you make it is. You know, like you take you take the opportunity that's given. You make the best of it, and then you roll the dice, and then however it goes is however it goes. But don't ever like fucking
don't ever take it for granted. You can't take it for granted.
You still got a lot more freedom here. Let me tell you that. Not in District 4 in Vietnam. You ain't got none of that there.
Shit. What is it? District 9?
District 4. I said District 4. I lived in a place called District 4 in Vietnam with zero.
I want to live there.
Bro, if I tweet anything about our president, I would die. Literally cut my head off. Yes. And I'll go back to wiping my ass with just my hand and cold water and no flush. Exactly. I like it here a lot. All right. That's the end of our episode. This is the Can't Tell Me Nothing podcast with Try and Engerson. Make sure you like, subscribe, and then see you next week.
We'll see you guys then. Ciao.